This case, I just got onto this case right here, the Madeline Soto case. And it intrigues me because this reminds me of the Maleah Davis case. Hello, Universe. What's up? It's Brandy619, and I am going to be discussing at this point in time the Madeline Soto case. I also have been following the Riley case of the young man who came up missing in Nashville. So there's really been a lot of stuff going on. You've had the lady who left her 16-month-old baby to starve while she went to Puerto Rico, taking pictures and philandering all around. You got the young lady who was gang raped and beat up and all on camera. I can't even think of her name right now. I know it starts with an M, but this case, I just got onto this case right here, the Madeline Soto case. And it intrigues me because this reminds me of the Maleah Davis case so much. And I was so invested in that case back then. And I'm glad that she was able to have justice. But in this case right here, we're getting the opportunity to listen to her mother and the mother's boyfriend make some statements that just don't make sense and just don't line up to me. I know that baby is going to get her justice, but I want to say, let me start here. There's absolutely no way that a mother's daughter is being actually abused by a person that lives in the same home as them from the time that child was 8 years old up until she turned 13. And mind you, on her 13th birthday, the mother had to work and left her with that guy. I can only imagine what kind of birthday gift that guy wanted to give her. When the police got his phone, he had all kinds of videos of the baby going back 5 years. Some of those videos within the same day, several times a day, several times a week. All right. But there's no way that she didn't know. And I can't stand mothers like y'all that that will overlook what they see they child going through just so they can keep a man in the house. Who will want a man who wants a child? Okay, so I say that to say that lady knows who did what to her child. Now let's get into the particulars of this case because I've listened to I've listened to a couple different things that the mother said. She said, hey, once they asked her, when's the last time you talked to your daughter? Well, I talked to her, the night of her party. I asked her about her party. She was really excited about her gifts and, and then the next day we dropped her off, at school. Here's the contradictions. At one point she says, we dropped her off at school. And then she said, well, we dropped her off close to the school. There's a contradiction. First she said we dropped her off at school. Then she says, well, we dropped her off close to the school because she wanted to walk the rest of the way. Video surveillance sees her by the church, standing, walking, whatever. Then she walks away and we don't see her again. Then we hear her say, I heard her say, out her mouth, we dropped her off at school. Well, I didn't, my partner did. Now, I keep seeing these in clips, so it looks like it's a continuous, it looks like, I don't want to cover my mouth because I do have some friends that are hearing impaired, so I want to make sure that they're able to read my lips. But this looks like it's all in the same clip, but I'm just hearing contradictions again. So she says, well, I didn't, my partner did. But then she gives this account. They see her up at the church on the surveillance camera. They see her walking, and then they just don't see her again. And yeah, that, that's what happened. So then he comes in with his interview. I see his interview. Oh, looking so sad. He looks down. One thing that I noticed about the mother is that she was kept looking up. The only thing that she really looked at the person about when they asked her, what did you talk about, was just she was about her birthday. She was really excited. She was really happy about her gifts. That's the one time that she really looks enthusiastic, and like that's the only part that's the truth. So he's looking down, he's looking down trying to go over his story. He appears to be even more hurt than the mother is. He looks at the lady with them fake tears in his eyes. No tears nowhere, just been up drinking all night, so his eyes probably red or something, who knows. Right? I'm trying to go over his story. And then he says, I think he said, I take her to school, I drop her off, she walks, and then he says that's the last time we see her again. So were y'all both in the car when y'all dropped her off, or were you not? Because she says, well, not me, my partner dropped her off. Now let's get into this video. The cops have him leaving the house at 7:35, throwing the baby's laptop and her book bag away. Then they see him leaving the school driving away from the school at like 8 something. Then they see him return back home at 8 something again, and they say that they can see Madeline in the car, and they believe that she's possibly deceased, right? He says that she fell asleep in the car on the way to school. But he comes back home and he's on camera, and there's someone in the car in the front seat that looks to be. So the question is he going around scouting, trying to set the stage to make it look like he took her to school? But before that question, I want to know, because they live in a gated community, I want to know, did anybody's Ring camera, whose Ring camera picked Madeline walking out of her house, like the neighbors across the street, or you know what I'm saying, catty corner, whatever? Did anybody's Ring camera see Madeline walking out the house and getting into the car? Or do they see him transporting her? Or do they see the mom dressed, portraying to be her, trying to create a scenario? Because I just don't believe that he acted alone in this situation. Now, I could be wrong, but for the mom to come on and give this account of they dropped her off, she wanted to walk the rest of the way, we dropped her off by the church, she could be seen on camera like throwing these little things in. Like, your story has changed twice. Like, did you or did you not? But I noticed that he said we. Initially, he said I, and then he said we. And then she said we, and then she said, well, he. He tried to give that young girl a birthday gift last night that night that she didn't want. And it got out of hand. She was tired of it. She was over it. She was becoming a young lady. She probably was, she's 13. She probably was cycling or something, didn't want, I don't know exactly, but I'm telling you, this stinks. He stinks. The mother stinks. And I have to ask myself, I would love to hear an interview from the grandmother because that's where the birthday party was at that night before. I would also like to hear from her friends. That baby's face looked tired at her party. Yeah, she looked like she was around in a safe space, but she looked tired. She really did. And another video that I saw little Madeline when she was little, when they was trying to get her to say, uh, I thought they initially was trying to get her to say grandpa and she didn't want to say it. And she started hollering and doing some, that almost kind of something sat in my spirit right then too. When she was little, she could have been about 2 or something like that, 2.5, something like that. And then they said, well, say Letty or let Leticia or something. And they said, well, say grandma, but justice has to be definitely be done for this baby. I hope sooner than later. But this is one of those cases. Y'all haven't really seen me talk about a lot of cases in a very long time, and y'all know that that's what I really used to do. But this is one of those things. This is like to me, rehashing the Davis case. Yeah. And I'll never really fully understand why people think that they can get away with things like this when these ring cameras that we have today, we think that they're for our protection, but they're really not. They're really something that the government has implemented so that they can go and get footage and watch everybody do what everybody shouldn't be doing. We do use it for us, but let a crime be committed. They're going to come and they're going to sequester that footage. And Ring Camera is going to give them that footage, whether you want to give it to them or not. When you agreed and set it up in your house, you agreed to that. So y'all need to stop doing silly stuff. You know what I'm saying? Because we constantly being watched everywhere we're going while we thinking that we have the freedoms or thinking that, we have privacy. We don't. All right, we don't. So, stop doing weird stuff like this. It's weird. It's let people live. Let people live. I just want to say that though. I'm about to be on this case. I'm gonna be watching this case. I'm gonna be on it like a hawk because I really want to hear the truth come out. And I guess at this point, the mom, for some reason, I think checked herself into a mental hospital. I know you did check yourself into a mental hospital because you've been watching this man abuse your child for the longest and did nothing about it. Did nothing about it. So, with that being said, let's see where this goes. Anybody else chime in? Anybody else who wheels is turning? Anybody else who, got something to say about this case? Anybody else like, hey, let's talk about it because it's getting really out of hand. It's getting so out of hand, and I'm tired of it myself. I'm tired of it. Like if I could, and I can guarantee you that if he's been doing that with her, they need to talk to any other ex-girlfriends and ex-girlfriends' children because I'm sure that he gets into relationships with women who have daughters. Clock that. He's got a history of this. Yeah. Mr. Stephen Soto. He's got a history of this. So y'all be needing to do y'all background checks. Y'all need to be being able to go through them phones. Y'all need to be able to y'all gotta do whatever y'all gotta do, especially if you got some stranger, and essentially they are a stranger if it's not their father. You know what I'm saying? And you even got to clock the fathers because they be doing some weird stuff. So it be real out here in these streets. You just have to be vigilant and you gotta watch and pay attention and listen and believe what you seeing and be willing to make those changes. I don't care who it is, for the sake of your children. And be open with your children enough to speak to them where they can feel comfortable with telling you anything. All right. So I don't know, y'all. Have a good night, but definitely, check up on that case. She check up on that case, cause they need to get everything they got coming.